Thank you very much, Linda, and I want to thank the Chamber of Commerce for this invitation this morning. I am honored to be with you all. I also want to congratulate the Mystic Valley Regional Charter School on a beautiful facility. I was just here on Friday night congratulating the 5th and 6th grade girls basketball team for the first ever championship in school history. I also want to acknowledge none of this would be possible without my father, so I'd ask him to please rise, Jeff Christenson. And I know my mom, Carol, is at home watching as well. So thank you, Ma and Dad, for being here. Now, I can't think of a better way to start this morning's presentation than by acknowledging the bravery and professionalism displayed last weekend. So from the bottom of our hearts, thank you, Malden Police. Just to give you a little perspective about what occurred on Friday night, beyond the heroism of our department, I can't say enough about their efforts to communicate with us so that the residents and the businesses had an idea of what was going on in our city. So let me take you step by step as best I can to give you an idea of what occurred on Friday night. Obviously, first we received the call. Malden Police responded right away with no hesitation. Working with Lieutenant Mark Yackham, we then deployed a code red call at 6:19 p.m.
This is the Malden Police with an emergency notification. At approximately 5 o'clock p.m. on Friday, March 23rd, a very serious incident occurred involving firearms at 500 Broadway in Malden.
So that was done with a mile around 500 Broadway. Then we did Facebook and Twitter updates between 6:25 and 10 p.m. And then at 10 o'clock p.m. We did one more code red call.
The Malden Police have confirmed the apprehension of 3 of the 4 suspects involved and are actively searching for the 4th suspect. Due to the serious nature of the situation, please take precautionary measures such as locking doors and windows while the search is still underway.
Again, I can't thank the police department enough for taking the time to work with us to make sure that everybody had as much information as possible for that evening. You could tell, too, I want to acknowledge the efforts of Ron Cochran, who's up here today. He's the Director of Online Services. And when I made the call to him, he immediately sprung into action. Rumor is he converted his bedroom to a command post. And as you could tell throughout the evening, I think the only break he got was to go to the bathroom between 6:19 and 6:25. So we at least allowed him to do that. But, you know, he was working very closely with the police department to make sure, you know, that we could get you as much information as possible. And that's really, I think, one of the central hallmarks, you know, of my administration is making sure that, you know, you have as much information that you can in order to react in and around the city. So I want to thank Ron one more time for that. Thank you, Ron. So let's get on to the presentation. So let me stop there. One of the first things we did when we took office in January was to, start branding or rebranding, what our city has to offer. I see Ward Council Barbara Murphy here. She's been someone on the council that's been pushing this for the city. And so we engaged one of our very own residents, Paul Kravitz, who designed this logo. And so now what we do is we use this with a lot of what we do in the city. So whether it's videos, Facebook, Twitter, Flickr, anything that we do that can incorporate this logo, we do it. And so what we're hoping to do is for people outside the city that are interested in moving here or setting up a business, they get a quick glimpse of what Malden has to offer. So I do want to thank Paul Kravitz. Not sure if he's here today, but he did yeoman's work in putting this together for us. Now again, back to broadening communication. The first category I'd like to discuss with you is expanding social reach. That was one of the very first things we did back in January. So here you see Twitter. And this is just one of the conversations we had with a resident who was thrilled to hear that we were able to obtain a transformation grant from the Department of Public Health, otherwise known as Mass in Motion. Very proud to let you know that we'll be partnering with our very own YWCA in the implementation of this grant. And the beauty of Twitter, if you look at the last sentence on the second, at the bottom there, what this person did is they took the great news that we got and then they sent it to all their followers. So again, it's another way of getting the good things that Malden is doing out and beyond our city. Again, the end result being that someone will see it and hopefully it will attract them to either visit or move here to our city. Next is with Facebook. And again, this is another conversation that we had with one of our residents. And this was about why we were cutting down so many trees at a particular time. So, Ron Cochran, again, in his capacity as Director of Online Services, was able to say, hang tight, let me find out. He spoke with the Department of Public Works. They notified him that, due to some of the trees having diseases and others having to come down because of sidewalks that have lifted, we made a concerted effort to try and get at those trees. And then you can see at the bottom, the person was pleased with the update. So, this person that's on Facebook, you never know whether they might have called the office or emailed us, but here is another way that they could communicate with us, and they did. And so the other thing that, we do with Ron's efforts is we tag them to make sure they know that when we do respond, they're going to get a notification that we did get back to them with the information they needed. The next part of expanding social reach, we now have our very own Flickr account, which can be found on the city website. These are just some of the pictures that are on the account. In the upper left, that is under the album My Town is Beautiful. And what we did is we went around and cataloged, some of the great places in Malden. On the right-hand side is the most recent Northern Strand cleanup that was led by City Council Barbara Murphy last weekend. This is between Faulkner and Cross Streets, which is the future site of our very own community garden. I have proposed $20,000 be set aside for the first phase of constructing this garden, and so Barbara, along with her volunteers, did a cleanup in preparation for this new garden. On the bottom left is a picture of Governor Deval Patrick when he was here in Malden visiting Linden School to announce one of 29 innovation grants across the state. So we're very pleased to have him here in Malden. And then to the far right is the Malden Rotary Road Race, which took place last weekend. And if you look, you'll see me way, way, way back in the line now. So, about Flickr, it's a central repository now. So The other thing that we like about it is that, you know, people that have an interest can go on and grab the picture and use it for their own use. And then what we view this account being sort of as a living history project. You know, again, people that aren't really sure about what we have to offer now have, you know, a place 24/7 to go and get a bird's eye view of, you know, what it is we're up to. And hopefully, again, the end result being they'll be attracted to come here. YouTube. We have our own YouTube channel now. This is the last piece of expanding social reach. All of these channels can be found on our website. These are some of the various videos we've done already. In the upper left-hand side, there's Ron Zanazzo, Bobby Knox, who I see here today from the Department of Public Works, and then you have Neil Anderson, Ward 7 City Councilor, talking about the proper way to recycle, because that's been a constant question over the past couple of years of what you can recycle and what you can't. The only problem was this video came out so well now is that when they call the mayor's office, they're looking for Neil Anderson, not the mayor. And then off to the right, we have Kevin Alkins, our animal control officer. He is been working closely with the spay wagon. You know, we offer that service once a month at McDonald Stadium, and so Kevin took it upon himself to put together a short video to let people know about this service and how you can access it. And then at the bottom is just, you know, one of the things we're trying to get in the habit of doing is holding routine press conferences to, you know, let you know what some of the issues are in front of us. So when you add it all up, this is where we are as of today. On Flickr, there's 120 photos. You know, Twitter, we have now 500 followers. Facebook, 800 likes, and then as you can see on YouTube, 2,000 video views. And of course, the best thing we like about it all is no cost to the city. So these are 4 tools that we're now using on a daily basis to try and connect with residents and businesses. Our goal is to get to 1,000 Facebook and Twitter likes and followers by summertime. So now we're going to go on to the next phase, which is engaging the community. And one of the very first things we did is we instituted online forums, so otherwise known as chat sessions. And basically what it is once a month, I'll spend an hour communicating with residents, utilizing a system called Cover It Live, and we do it in partnership with the Malden Patch. Again, the beauty of this is there is no cost. The cost typically would be $500 per month for the software, but again, the Patch has partnered up with us. I don't know if they will after they heard that price, but they've been very good partners in providing this to us. So just to let you know where we are is, I think one of our most recent forums, we've had 3 now, we had 200 participants, and the chat was replayed. You know, we have statistics that we can use, was replayed over 1,400 times. So again, someone that's working 2 or 3 jobs, they don't really have the time to be involved. This is another means for them to stay on top of what's going on in Malden. And then the next one, I just, hold on one second, I wanted to let people know, this actual chat here was, someone wanted to let us know that we did a decent job filling in this year's potholes. What we did this year, which was a little bit different, is we had a form online that people could actually go on, very simple, input the address where the pothole was, and then those forms were forwarded, you know, to a repository where people from the Department of Public Works, you know, Ron Cochran and others could, you know, react to them quickly, as opposed to before they might have been on a piece of paper or someone tells someone and then someone tells someone else. We're trying to become much more organized in, you know, how we administer city functions. For what it's worth, the next one is going to be on Friday, April 27th, and that'll be at 10 a.m. and you can log in at the City of Malden's website, or you can visit Malden Patch. What we're going to start doing too, which is a little bit different from the first 3 months, is we're going to start partnering up with different city officials. So Friday, April 27th, I'll be online with our school superintendent, Dr. David DeRusi. And so we'll both answer questions together. Yep, the next is Mayor's Safety Awareness Meetings. I think I heard it loud and clear on the campaign trail, and that is, people want to be on top of, what's going on around them in terms of crime. So one of the very first things we instituted was a monthly safety awareness meeting. So far we always go to a different part of the city. We visited the BB School, Ward 3, with Councilor Matheson in January. Then we went over to Ward 4, the Oak Grove Community Building. And then just this past Monday, we were with the City Council President, Judy Bucci, at the Linden School Auditorium. And what we do with these meetings is we look 28 days back as to some of the incidents that might have occurred, in the neighborhood. And then we also offer prevention tips, ways that people can be safe. Our next safety awareness meeting is going to be on Monday, April 30th at 6 p.m. And we're going to be heading on over to the Emerson School in Ward 2, where we'll be hosted by Councilor Altrino. Another new twist, now that we have 3 under our belt, is we're going to have someone from the fire department come with us as well. So we'll have both police, fire at these meetings. The next thing we did to engage the community, first ever computer in the mayor's office. And as you could tell, I definitely know why I was first. Mayor Howard was funny when he left office. He said, I really appreciate you want to expand technology here in the mayor's office, but be careful what you wish for. And then as you could tell, 600,000 emails later, I know what he was talking about. No, but seriously, it's been an effective way, again, to reach people, and so we're going to continue to do this. The other thing we did engage in the community is I thought we held a very successful public meeting on the proposed MBTA cuts. We had over 400 people in attendance, so it was quite a chore to put everything together. But I don't have proof, but I'm pretty sure that this had an impact on what you were able to see yesterday in terms of what was finally recommended by the MBTA. Back a couple months ago, it was suggested that we would lose, most of our bus service here in Malden, but after yesterday's proposal, which Governor Patrick is supporting, we will virtually lose none. And I think that's a credit to everybody that turned out that evening. I also want to recognize, to let you know about, thank you. And just to let you know the new versatility I'm looking for in city employees, Jan Yu, who works in the mayor's office, didn't even hesitate that evening and went down and served as a translator for everybody that was there that evening. Is Jan here? Jan Yu? Obviously, we're still concerned about the proposed rate increases, which on average are 23%, and we'll continue to work with our state legislature on that. But for now, let it be known that they are working diligently on preventing any further cuts to our community, which would simply devastate us because, one of our hallmarks, I think as you saw in the opening credit, was public transportation. So we'll keep you informed of that. Another connection to why that meeting went so well that night, I want to show you the volunteers. Can't say enough about this group. One of the things we did that night, anticipating such a large crowd, is we had volunteers from our city step forward and serve as points of contact that night. So this group of folks here were out front of City Hall, they were out back of City Hall, they were at the elevator where you got off to go into the council chamber for the hearing. They were just a resource for us and at no cost to us. And I can't say enough about their service to Malden, so I'd like to give a round of applause to them. Another way that we're engaged in the community, we have our very own American Idol contest here in Malden. This is called the Voice of City Hall, and what it is, because I think most of you know, I'm a rather serious person, is that we wanted to have a little fun for a change, and so we created this Voice of the City Hall. And so what happens here is we put a contest out. We had 15 entries submitted, and we're going to ask you to vote on those entries, and then we're going to announce the winner in mid-April. The voice will then serve as the voiceover for when you call City Hall and are looking for certain departments. And again, back to versatility, this individual here serves on the City Council, but he also participated in the Voice of the City Hall contest. So this is Councilor David D'Arcangelo's submission.
You have reached Malden City Hall. Our hours are 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.
So we want to thank Councilor D'Arcangelo, and I think Councilor Anderson is in there as well, so we'll keep you posted on that. And then, of course, one of the best ways to engage the City of Malden is by calling none other than bingo. So, this is at the Ferryway School with Ward 1 School Committee member Jen Cabral, and I see City Councilor Peg Crow here. We called Candy Bar Bingo last Friday night. So we continue to try and do those events, because my experience as a school committee person, as a city councilor, nothing more important than being out at these events. So the next slide is we're going to now move on to enhancing public safety. And I think most of you know here that one of the things that we recently did is we are hiring 4 new police officers and 1 cadet. This was at the behest of our police chief, Jim Holland, and the rest of the department. It's something that I think when I was a city councilor, I felt, along with my colleagues, that we need to do more here. 74 police officers for a city of 60,000 people is not going to cut it. We must find a way, we will find a way to add more police officers, and this is the first way. So hats off to the City Council who voted this proposal unanimously. The thing that I like about this as well, it also assists the business community, because one of the offices will be dedicated to the downtown area. So this officer might work a 10 to 6 shift. They might flip the shifts so they're there later in the evening. But we're thrilled to be able to add this for the chamber and the downtown business community. And then what we're hoping to do is we're trying to be aggressive here and try and get on as many offices as we can sooner rather than later. But one of the things you'll see about me as mayor, I see my role more as a facilitator, working with the council to get the resources for the experts. And so now we'll leave it to the chief and in the department to determine whether or not there are existing offices nearby that can come in and do the job now. If not, then we'll put on an academy, and we'll have to wait a couple of months. But we are excited to be able to at least offer this proposal and have it passed by the City Council. Also, we are utilizing what's called a SAFER grant. We're able to put 10 new firefighters on. We just had the swearing-in ceremony, and then these are the individual pictures, which again can be seen on Flickr, of the firefighters being pinned by their family members. Another feature of enhancing public safety is Raids Online. This is a web-based application that you can go on and you can see, what incidents are occurring and where they are happening. They're updated on a daily basis, and it's again raidsonline.com. What you do is you look for your city, and then you can see the level of detail that's offered once you're able to pull up the community. Now, the major difference from this to crime reports, which is what we used before, is that this is free. And the reason it's free is because Raids Online, they're upselling, more of their complex reporting tools. And so that's how we're able to get it for free on our end. Next is the Problem Properties Unit. Let me just assure everyone this place is not in Malden. But, you know, another top 5 issue that we heard during the past year is the need to really be aggressive on properties that are causing problems in and around Malden. So we have completely changed the composition of the committee. It's now more laden with police officers. We have the treasurer's office represented now on this unit in case of a default in taxes. We meet bi-weekly. I'm personally chairing this unit. And what we're doing is, when we're at these meetings too, is we're using Google Earth to actually look at some of the properties. Because what happened in the past is we might have just done everything off paper, but now we're actually looking at the property online as we discuss each one that's on our list. I'm very pleased to see to my right, we have Maria Luis, who is the resident that's serving on this unit for the first time. And believe me, we would not be where we are without her efforts. So I want to thank her. And where we're going with this unit, I think eventually in a couple of weeks we should have another web-based point of contact for you. If you see a house that, you know, something looks awry, you'll be able to, you know, put it on our website. And you'll also have a dedicated phone number to call us and let us know if there's a problematic property. The other thing we're toying with, we haven't quite decided, is whether or not we start putting these properties on the web for all to see. Personally, you know, I think we should, but obviously we need to look at the legalities. The City of Boston is doing that. If you went to the City of Boston's website, you could go to a link and see all the properties that they're going over with their units. So we're looking at the same here. The other thing I like about this though too is we're trying to get into more of a rapid response here on these properties. You know, instead of finding about everything on the tail end, we're now trying to be, you know, on the front end. So to give you an example, the other night I see Council Spatafora in front of me. I think most of you heard there was a, you know, a methadone clinic at the end of Pearl Street. Just, I think it was behind Triangle, Councilor, if I'm not mistaken. But, you know, the councilor working with Councilor Altrino, Kevin Duffy from my office, who I'll get to momentarily, Scott Fitzpatrick, our building inspector, Michelle Romero from the planning board, and others, you know, we were able to collaborate and pull together our efforts to, you know, be able to react within 24 hours. And so that's the kind of approach I see us utilizing moving forward with this unit. Next is putting some light on Malden. I think it's always fascinated us as we go to these various mayor safety awareness meetings that people repeatedly tell us one of the best things that we could do for them in protecting them is to provide more lighting. So as you can see, this statistic here, Malden owns roughly 232 streetlights. So just to try and differentiate, most of the wooden poles that you see around Malden, they are owned and maintained by National Grid. The silver poles we own, and I think that's a remnant of a program that was designed back in the 70s. So we're responsible for maintaining those silver poles, give or take a few of them. So we have 232 of them. When we took office, and this is no fault of anyone, I mean, it's been tough budget times, but 80 of them were out. So working with our wire inspector, Mike Crotty and Frank Kelly, we were able to repair 60 of those. And they're in all areas of the city. And the word we're getting back from people is that it's definitely helping them getting to and from home. So this will be another piece that I'm really going to stay focused on over the next 4 years, is making sure that, you know, again, we're not reacting. You know, we're staying on top of these lights to make sure that people have ample lighting in and around Malden. The other thing that we are starting to focus in on as well, on the right-hand side, on the left-hand side, just to give you an example, that's the BB School, and there were several lights out there, but again, working with the City Council, Steve Melanson, the Director of Public Facilities, we were able to repair those very quickly. On the right-hand side, that is the Delta near Pearl and Pleasant Street, across from the beauty school and near the fire station. And we had various reports of loitering, alcohol, beverages, needles. So what we did is we immediately went in, working with the police department and other various agencies, and added a floodlight at the top of that street light. So it's coming right down on the delta. We also took out the benches, cut the shrubs, so people walking by now will have a clear line of sight to and from the sidewalk. And we're now starting to do this with other deltas as well. Again, the counselor in front of me, he took it upon himself to really hone in on Highland and Pleasant. So if you go by there today, you'll see that you should have a pretty good line of sight from the street through that area. And so again, that's the approach we're taking. But I've asked Mike Crotty, our wire inspector, to put together a plan where every month there's a section of the city that's going to be reviewed for lighting. And then the next month, the next section, and the next section. And then once you're done with all those sections, start over. And that's the kind of rhythm that we're going to have to find if we're going to be successful. We can no longer simply be reactionary and just wait for an emergency to happen. We have to start getting more proactive. So credit to Mr. Crotty, he is doing that as we speak. The next section I want to talk to you a little bit about is moving around Malden. And this is water main and road construction, which I think many of you have seen over the past year. Under Mayor Howard's administration, we took advantage of a SRF program, State Revolving Fund is the spelling of the acronym. And we utilized bond funding in consultation with the City Council. And so last year we were able to replace water mains for 32 streets. The other thing that I think the council and I like about this program is while we're replacing the water mains, we're also making sure that the hydrants are getting repaired. I think as many of you know, a couple years ago, we uncovered that many of our hydrants weren't working to the satisfaction of our Fire Chief Mike Murphy, who's here today. So we then banded together to adopt this program and start replacing a lot of our water mains. Phase 2, which is coming up this spring, summer, will be replacing the water mains in 40 streets. And then hopefully there'll be a phase 3, a phase 4, a phase 5. Now you may ask, how are you able to obtain, all of this funding during these tough economic times? One of the bad things, good things, is that way back when we installed lead lines, we never thought much of it then. But now, fast forward to 2012, obviously the federal government, the state government, want these lead lines out. They're not good for our city. So they are providing funding to help us do that. So we're working with CDM Smith, who I see here today, to make sure that we get at as many of these lead lines as possible. The one caveat here that I'm working with the council on is that when the SRF provides the funding, they provide funding to replace the water mains, and they only provide funding to do sort of a minimal overlay, on the street. Again, credit to the city council. I think their thought is that, if we're going to go in and, pave the street, we should really look at doing it right and not doing a temporary, 3 or 4 year fix. So we're in talks now to maybe step that up a notch. So when we go in this spring to pave those streets in phase 1, they'll get the attention they deserve. So we'll keep you updated on that as we move forward. One other caveat that I'd like to let you know as well, back to this, sort of thinking a little bit differently, is I've asked CDM Smith, along with our city engineer, Jack Russell, the Department of Public Works, is that when we're in these streets and we are replacing the water mains, the other thing I've asked is, let's take a look at the curbing, let's take a look at the sidewalks, let's take a look at the catch basins, let's take a look at the trees that are hanging above. Let's try and start providing a holistic approach when we're doing this work. Because I think sometimes in years past, we'd go in and we would only replace the street and then we would leave. When really we should be taking a look at around while we're on the street to see what other things could be done while we're there. So we just got some price quotations on what it would take to you know, again, treat some of the curbing and the sidewalks on the streets that were dug up last year, and it's something that I'm hoping we can move forward with the city council on in the next month. Okay, of course, I'd have to say this is a top 5 issue on the trail. Parking, parking, parking. I remember knocking all the doors of the downtown businesses. I think it was on Christmas Eve. I really am a loser. But every one of them, without a doubt, said parking, 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 parking is the key to our success. So again, I'm going to introduce Kevin soon, but I want to let you know this is what we're up to. First, we have added parking spots on Washington Street. So there are 10 spaces now on Washington Street that never once existed. I think 4 are in front of the senior center, and then there are 6 in front of St. Paul's Parish. The twist is that what we did is we have earmarked those spots, if you will, for the seniors to utilize the senior center between a certain amount of hours. Once those hours are up, then those new parking spots would be available for patrons to visit the downtown area. On Middlesex Street, we have 6 spots that have been measured and marked and are pending now with the Malden Traffic Commission. But if they were to vote for them, then we'd have 6 additional spots on Middlesex Street. And then finally, what you have in front of you is Dartmouth Street. And what we did there is, again, measured and marked. And on the left-hand side, you'll see 18 potential new parking spots, and then 14 on the other side, on the east side. So if everything goes well, you know, 6 plus the 10, we could be at 32 new parking spaces in the downtown. All together, when you add them all up, there would be 48 new spaces for our merchants. So hopefully in the next month, we'll be able to deliver you this official news, and you know, our hope is that it will help increase business in the downtown area. This is the bike path. Obviously, we are thrilled to be able to say that this June we'll be doing a ribbon cutting, thanks to the folks from Bike to the Sea. Steve Winslow, led by Steve Winslow, this group, talk about hard work and dedication. They have been at this for many, many years, but their hard work is going to be rewarded very soon. One of the things that we've done is, well, let me give you some of the specifics here. This will be a 12-foot wide path that will start in Everett, you know, go through Malden. The work we're doing this summer will be, you know, sort of near the National Grid site on Medford Street, and it'll go down to Councilor Bucci's ward in Linden Square. The path will be 3 miles long, and the one change that we've made with the City Council's blessing, originally this was going to be designed with stone dust. We since have made a change for it to be recycled asphalt. The reason for that is I was able to visit Everett's side, which is complete, and I think working with the council, we just felt it was a better fit for the path. So it's a little bit more lifted off the ground, and it gives it a little bit more clarity that I think people would want on a bike path. So the other thing that this project will include, because I know many of you asked what's going to happen when you get to some of these intersections, there are going to be 11 at-grade crossings that will be made handicapped, they'll be accessible, and also there'll be signage and pavement markings at all of these areas to make it safe for our users. Also, the intersection of the trail with Route 99 Broadway will include the installation of a high visibility flashing warning system. And again, that's hopefully to make the users feel safe when they're traveling on the path. Total project cost here will be about $700,000. Malden, you know, through the City Council's efforts, will be dedicating a significant portion of the meals tax to make this path a reality. Now, properties on the move. Before I get through these, I do want to acknowledge Kevin Duffy, who is our business development. Kevin, you have Kevin rise? Back there. I like that. Kevin's in the back keeping an eye on all the businesses. Just what he's supposed to be doing. So I want to acknowledge his great efforts on what we're about to show you here on properties on the move. So the first one here, I think you know, this is Granada Lanes. It's on Main Street, across from the First Baptist Church. And what this potentially could be is a 6-story apartment building. It's going to be geared toward younger professionals. The apartments are going to be small, and it's also going to be what I think most of us talked about in the visioning statement, will be a mixed use. So there'll be some retail at the base. Total level of investment potentially could be upwards of $50 million. The next site is the Super Fitness, which I know many of us have discussed over the past several years. This is working its way through the City Council, but if it becomes a reality, 3 6-story buildings totaling 235 apartments, market rate. There'll be zip car parking, and again, depending on where the City Council goes, this too could have a small retail use at the base of the foundation. So again, this is I think the theme we're trying to follow through on, that was started by Mayor Howard's administration, is utilizing the orange line of the commuter rail for smart growth development. Okay, this is the Linden Firehouse. We're trying to make a determination at the leadership of Councilor Bucci on which way we want to go here with this piece of property. Right now it houses the public facilities department and also is used by the Malden Public Library. But I think we need to make a determination here which way we want to go. So Councilor Bucci has started to engage the residents in Ward 8 to determine what we should do there. This is McFadden Manor, which is in Councilor Murphy's ward, out of Ward 5. That too, we're waiting to determine what is the next step on what we do with this property. There have been some folks that have engaged us on what we should do. One potential opportunity was veterans housing, but we continue to work with the City Council to determine what the best use would be for this site. This is the Emerson School on Highland Avenue in Ward 2. We're getting ready to determine, again, the fate of this building as well. As you know, over the years, we've talked about selling it, leasing it. Right now, we're currently leasing it to various nonprofits, but I think the time has come that we really choose a path here, because we're still providing the maintenance of the building, and so I think the time has come we have to determine what is the best way to move forward here. One interesting thing, though, is that although Councilor Altrino has brought this before the council, he's asked for a couple of weeks reprieve, because there is a very, very active community arts group that is readying a proposal to potentially convert this building to a community arts center, which I think for us moving forward, this would be a great amenity to have, particularly if the numbers work. So I think what the councilor's intent is that he will meet with the community arts group to figure out whether or not their proposal can be self-sustaining, and if it can't, then what we'll do is we'll probably put this out, see what the market might do with it, and then in the meantime we'll continue to work with the community arts folks to see if we can come up with another spot in the city for a community arts center. This is Overlook Ridge, which is over in Ward 8. We just got some news from them that they're going to be going to the next phase, which will be 370 apartments in 4 buildings. 60%, just about 60% of the units will be 1 bedroom, and 44% will be 2 bedroom. And the level of investment here, I believe, is upwards of $80 million. Okay, and then obviously this is the National Grid site, which could be the home of the baseball field of dreams. And that's what it will look like, you know, as was presented at our public meeting back in January. The latest on that is negotiations continue to take place between the developer and his team, along with National Grid and the 3 properties that currently reside on Canal Street. From all accounts, the negotiations are fruitful. They're sitting down and trying to work out something that will benefit all. Again, we're on track if all goes well. You know, I think as you know, Mayor Howard pointed out last year, then we could be set for a April 2014 opening day. And then our last property for sale is City Hall. And the way we're going, we'll take anything. So if you have money on you, bring it on up. No, seriously, this is, you know, I've sort of staked my term on having a plan what to do here. I know the council and I have been scratching our heads for several years here because, you know, right now there's probably $10 to $12 million that are needed to bring this building up to where it should be. And I know myself, I'm not willing to do that. So, you know, we're actively trying to develop a plan that would, you know, relocate the functions of City Hall, reconnect Pleasant Street, you know, find a new place for the Malden Police Department because, you know, we share the utilities as it is now there, and really bring life back to this area of the downtown. I really think it's the, you know, it's the next step for us to do this right. If you look, when people come off the train station, it's just like 2 separate cities. They don't see what's going on in the downtown. So we've been talking with a number of folks in the downtown on what we might be able to do collaboratively to make this happen. I'm of the mindset, and I know the council has differing opinions, but I am not one that believes, you know, we have to have a separate and distinct City Hall building. A couple of reasons. One is technology. You know, technology is has changed the way we, you know, do our functions today. Another reason why is we are just absolutely terrible at maintaining buildings, let's face it. And then I think the third reason is I come from state government where we had a state agency that partnered up with a private entity by renting space, 1 floor in a building, and we've never looked back. We just renewed, before I left, another 5-year renewal with Century Bank. I was at the Middlesex Sheriff's Office as the budget director. All of our functions were on 1 floor, and the maintenance of the building was never smoother. They would come up once a year and, okay, where's your punch list of items that need to be done? We would hand it to them and they would be done. It removed us from what I don't think we're very good at, nor will we ever be. So, you know, we're actively working with the Malden Redevelopment Authority, as we are on a host of these projects, to see if we can somehow make this thing work within the next couple of years. Okay, where are we headed now? Some of the things that we've instituted right away is we have, believe it or not, these are happening every day of the week. So the first thing is every Monday morning we meet with the police chief to review, you know, incidents that occurred the prior week and what's coming up the following week. Every other week on Tuesdays we have department head meetings to make sure that, you know, I have the opportunity to stay in touch with our managers and to make sure they have the resources to do their job. On every other week on a Wednesday we have the problem properties unit, and what we're hoping to do there eventually too is to get out in and around the city and host some of these meetings in the different neighborhoods. Once a month we have a City Hall staff meeting, and the intent behind this is to give, you know, all the employees in the building an opportunity to spend some time with the mayor's office and to learn about some of the issues that they might otherwise not learn about. And then every other week I meet with the city controller, Chuck Ranigan, and also the finance chair, Greg Lucy, just to try and, you know, synchronize where we are financially. And then on every Friday morning, the city council president and I get together again to talk about the city council's priorities and what's coming out of the mayor's office. And then what's not on here, because we couldn't fit it, every Tuesday night I meet with the school superintendent, David DeRusi, and the vice chairman in front of me, Adam Weldi. Every Tuesday night we review, things that are going on in the schools. And then smack dab in the middle of the calendar, I meet once a month with the Mass Senior Action Council, who are sort of the de facto representatives of our senior population. And again, it's an effort to try and stay on top of issues that are important to our seniors. Now, the person I feel so bad for in scheduling all this stuff is Carolyn Desiderio. I want to see if she will stand up and... I know it's got to be painful, her trying to manage all this stuff, but she does an absolutely fantastic job at doing so. Next, where are we going? As many of you know, the transition report, which was led by our city councilor at large, Greg Lucy, was delivered back in January. We are now utilizing many of the recommendations in the report moving forward. For those who haven't seen the report, I'd encourage you to visit www.cityofmalden.org. There's a category called Transition Report where you'll be able to see, what the findings were transitioning from the Howard administration to the Christenson administration. Some of the things off the top, we now have a system in place for volunteers, people that want to work a couple hours for the city. We also have bilingual translation now, part of City Hall. As I mentioned, Yan Yu speaks Mandarin. Teddy Louis Jacques, who works in the mayor's office. Teddy here? Teddy, stand up. Here he is. He speaks Haitian Creole, and then we hired someone in the clerk's office who was speaking Cantonese. And so again, one of the goals I had coming in was to, start reflecting what our city has become, which is the second most diverse city in Massachusetts. We talked about the citywide staff meetings. The other thing that we've put it together in consultation with the city council, we're now going to have a policy committee, and that committee is going to be meeting regularly to develop, policies and guidelines to move the city hall and the city in general forward. Boards and commissions, there are some that I appoint, there are some that the city council appoints, there are some that we both appoint, and there are some that just appoint themselves. So what we're trying to do is really bring some sort of logic, to what these boards and commissions do, how are they appointed. Let me tell you, already I can see the positive outcome in what we're doing. Just last month, and this will be sort of what we do on all the positions, give or take, is that, we advertise the vacant Public Works Commission position. And lo and behold, I was talking with Councilor Lucy, and we were both so pleased to have someone who is a homeowner in Malden, never stepped forward before, submit the application. We ranked the applications. We narrowed the applications down. Then we interviewed the applicants who had made it past the first phase. Then they brought the recommendations to me. We approved them. We called them. They went before the city council, and now we have someone for the first time being a part of the city because of that process. And so, I want to stop here and just let you know the point person and, sort of the chief administrative office for the mayor's office is Kathleen Manning Hall. Kathleen, could I just stand up? She's really done a great job with implementing the recommendations, because I think, let's face it, all of you know, we put these reports together, and then what happens to them? So I've really tried to pride myself when, people like Kathleen and Councilor Lucy and others are dedicating their time to putting these reports together that, the least we can do is follow through on the recommendations. The last piece of this before we move on is, again, back to Councilor Spatafora, and I think it was Councilor Murphy on that technology committee, if I'm not mistaken. But if you could believe it, City Hall never had voicemail. And so through the efforts of the council and now our office, a couple of weeks ago, I don't know if I should tell you all this, I should have waited till the next day, but we now have voicemail in City Hall. So you can reach me at 781-397-7000, extension 2010. And we are thrilled to have this, ability to offer this to our residents. The other great thing about the technology that I'm still fascinated by is we have executive insight, which now, as the chief executive, I can be on the computer and then I can pull up a grid of all of our employees, and if I need to call someone, right click of a mouse, the phone will dial it. I'll never have to move. It also allows us to know if people are on the phone, if people are out of the office, if people are on vacation. And again, it sort of takes away from, maybe in years past, if someone wasn't in the office, you'd have to ask someone, and then they would ask someone, and then they would ask someone. Now you really have this all on one screen. Okay, next is the Teen Center Task
With the
Force.
help of the YMCA and the use of their gym, we have been able to host a variety of activities. Our last teen night had over 200 teens.
And so, again, Kathy McMullen is heading up a task force to determine whether or not, we can locate a teen center in Malden. Again, all I'm really doing as mayor is following the blueprint that you outlined on the campaign trail. And this was an issue that came up, in all four corners of the city, that people felt, we do a great job before school, during school, and after school. But we think we could do a little bit better between the hours of 4, 8, 9, 10 p.m. So Kathy McMullen is leading a group of residents and business owners to determine whether or not there is a site, nearby that we could house our very own teen center. Also on the group are teens themselves. So, we're not doing this in a vacuum. We have students that are serving on the task force, and it is expected that their report and recommendations will be delivered to me mid-April. So we're very much looking forward to that. And I think, another thing to indicate to you that I think we're on the right track is Kathy McMullen working with the YMCA, the YWCA, and the Partnership for Community Schools has held at least a dozen teen nights, individual teen nights during the past year. And for any of you that have attended, the numbers are just continuing to grow. And so I think that's another key indicator that we are on the right path here with trying to site a teen center. And then McDonald Stadium, otherwise known as Pearl Street Stadium. Recently, working with the City Council, we were able to come up with the funding that we were, short from the estimated amount a year ago to put this package together. I just signed the contract, so by September, McDonald Stadium will have grass replaced with turf, and we'll completely redo the track around the field. So we're very excited about that. I think the reason being it's going to offer us so many more uses than we have now. I think anybody that's visited the stadium, just when it rains, it's very difficult to use the field in subsequent days. So by going to turf now, the sky's the limit. So groups like, Boys and Girls Lacrosse, Malden Youth Soccer, and the beat goes on, will be able to have access to yet another field here in Malden. It's ironic as well that as we prepare to do the construction of the field, that next November will be the 125th football game between Malden versus Medford. So we've already started planning for that win by Malden in November. Next, I want to just give you some tidbits about the budget process. One thing I've learned, never put anything in writing. So I just want to tell you a couple of bullets though. So far, fiscal year 2012, which ends on June 30th, we continue to be balanced, albeit precariously. The good news is, we have free cash, otherwise known as the Rainy Day Fund Stabilization Account, of $5.3 million. And I am very proud in working with the council to leave that rainy day fund untouched. I am very, very conservative when it comes to utilizing monies out of the free cash balance as mayor, not as a city councilor, but as mayor. And I think the reason being is, the world's changed forever, so we really need to start preparing with it. So I think by us having reserves on hand will help us, with emergencies as they arise, It's certainly going to help us when we go out to do future bonding. You're not going to see me utilize free cash for, pay raises or any kind of collective bargaining feature. I mean, I treat free cash sort of as a one-time. If we are going to utilize free cash, it really should be on items that are of a one-time nature. It shouldn't be something that's going to require us to fund year after year after year. That's just not smart budgeting. I was a budget analyst at the House Committee on Ways and Means, and so I think it's important that we try and build up our reserves as much as we can. The other thing that we have done to try and take the sting off these tough times is we have engaged a grant writer now that we have on retainer, so we're able to utilize the services when we see grant opportunities come up. Already we have them working on a grant application with the Metropolitan Area Planning Council, which if we receive, that organization will work with students from the Harvard School of Design to come in and give us some ideas about what we can do here at the City Hall site. Now, heading off into fiscal year 2013, which begins on July 1st, let me say that my philosophy when this proposal is delivered to the City Council can be best described as a priority-based budgeting model. And what that means in a nutshell is, what are the priorities of our city? And when those priorities are determined, those are the ones that should get top billing in the budget. Now, I'm not just, we all know the obvious, police, fire, education, the Department of Public Works, etc. But what are some of the other things that truly will define the Christenson administration? Some of the highlights will be as follows. And I follow through, as I stated I would on the campaign trail. The first account I have received, actually strike that, I have reviewed, is the Veteran Services Department. For many years I think it's befuddled the council and I at times as to, the Veteran Services Department would run out of funding, maybe mid-year or in the third quarter of the fiscal year. Then they would have to file a transfer, then the transfer would go to the council, and the council would debate it, and then they would send it upstairs and the mayor would sign it. I don't think Veteran Services should ever be in that position, particularly after all the men and women have given our country. So there will be an increase in the Veteran Services Department to reflect the true needs of those heroic men and women. The other thing is we are fully funding, obviously, the 4 police officers and the 1 cadet that you saw earlier. And what I'm hoping to do is get into a pattern of adding police officers on a regular basis until we get to, the point that our chief and the other members of the police department feel would really provide a safe community for us all. Summer jobs for youth. You will most certainly see an increase in that account. Again, back to this focus on our youth. Looking at the numbers last year, we had just about, I think it was 400 applicants. We were only able to fund 140 of them. So I think I joined the City Council when stating that, there's nothing better than we can do for our youth in the summertime than provide them an opportunity to, to work and be a part of our city. There will also be an increase in the sidewalk repair program. We do a very good job there, but I think we could do more, so there'll be an increase in that account. There will be restructuring in this budget. There will be consolidation in this budget proposal. It will be electronically filed with the City Council, and there will be a public hearing on the budget proposal before it's delivered to the City Council. And again, this is an effort to try and give you a part in what it is the executive branch is doing. Also, I can assure the business community here that I will be filing a proposal to the City Council as part of this budget process to utilize a portion of the meals tax to fund a dine-in campaign. Again, I heard loud and clear from the business community as to the onerous effect on them with the meals tax adoption. And so I will ask the City Council that we at least fund this proposal that has emanated from the business community. I can also let you know that as part of this proposal, the city will start absorbing that 40-cent charge when you go on to pay your bills online. I looked at the numbers. It's very tiny, and for, back to this customer service aspect of the administration, we should be not, if we're going to ask our residents to pay their bills online, we shouldn't be charging them to do so. So we will be absorbing that cost as part of this proposal. Now, the reason why I'm able to highlight some of these things to you thus far is on the topic of health insurance. We have done very well. We announced on Tuesday morning, I believe, that our health insurance rates will be going up just 1%. And if you compare that to the Group Insurance Commission, who is the group that we're normally compared to, they're going up 1.5%. So I can't say enough about Mayor Howard's choice to sort of travel our own road when it comes to health insurance, and certainly the proof is in the announcement the other day of us only going up 1% on our health insurance rates. Also, when it comes to community development block grant funding, we did send the proposal down for next fiscal year this week, and we'll be looking to fund phase 1 of Tartikoff Park, which resides in Councilor Anderson's ward. We continue to work with Neil Kinnan, the councilor out of Ward 6 on South Broadway. Funds are allocated there. And then we're working with Councilor Bucci on Linden Park, and the caveat there is we're looking to do a change order to get at the Delta, which is across the street from Linden Park, and see if we can incorporate all of that into that renovation. And let me state on the record that Waits Mount continues to be fully funded at $1.5 million. And then the other thing that we're doing is with our public service agencies, this is the other thing that we tried to do is community development block grant took almost a 15–16% cut, but for those public service agencies that are dependent on a portion of the community development block grant, let me state to you that working with the City Council, we have found a way to prevent those cuts, for the most part, applying to this year's community development block grant allocation. Also, we are continuing to wait from TRICAP and the Bread of Life on what I consider to be a very exciting project where Bread of Life will finally have a new home in conjunction with TRICAP. Those two agencies work very well together, and we're hoping through the City Council that we'll be able to utilize some federal grant money to help this development move forward. With respect to the schools, I can assure you that we're working with the City Council to do some capital repairs that may have languished over the past several years, and we're also working on a tricky issue. I don't want to really get into it too much, but something called net school spending. Every year the city's supposed to be spending X amount of dollars on the schools, but I think, as you probably understand, during the tough times of the past couple fiscal years, there is a potential that we may have fallen under net school spending. Not by much, but it's enough that we're going to have to address that in next fiscal year's budget. Also, we're excited and waiting for what the Linden School decides with respect to this innovation school. They are continuing to work out the details, and hopefully we'll be able to officially announce Malden's first innovation school shortly. And then I attended the Bunker Hill Community College Board of Trustees meeting last week, and they have decided to renew the agreement they have with us, which means our students will be able to enroll in dual enrollment classes while at Malden High School. And again, I think that gives them a leg up as they move forward through their educational career. Saving this for last, of course, pay as you throw, otherwise known as the blue bags. This is a real difficult issue. We have looked backwards and forwards on what we might be able to do here. I have been presented with 7 options on how we could maybe tweak the program, which would not utilize the blue bags. Of course, the caveat is they all cost money. So I'm continuing to review the various proposals, but in the meantime, what you should know now is that we do offer a smaller bag. It's an 8-gallon bag. It's for 50 cents. And then the other tweak we made, to try and minimize in the short term is they're now sold in 5 packs. So instead of having to be, buying 10 at the register, you'll be able to buy 5, So we're trying to make these short-term changes until we figure what we're going to do long-term. The one thing we are going to do, and I think the council's in full agreement on this, and I think it was highlighted in Councilor Anderson's video, is that, we have to do something about the 18-gallon recycle bins. We've completely outgrown those, so we're looking to, at a minimum, make sure we increase the depth of the recycling barrels that we're using. So those are some of the highlights so far. Now, on the school maintenance task force, this is the other issue I want to talk about with respect to the schools. Councilor Lucy is, headlining a group of people to determine what is the best way. Back to this thing about not maintaining our buildings. I've asked Greg to determine, what is the best way moving forward to, keep these schools the way they should be. So he is readying a report along with recommendations on how we can do that. This has been a very important topic, not only to myself, but Superintendent DeRusi, the entire school committee, city council, school councils, PTO, all the way down the line. And so he's met with the custodians, and we're trying to come up with new ways we can really, keep these schools the way they should be. And that's particularly important with, our acceptance now of Malden High School, which underwent a $77 million renovation. The other thing we are going to roll out shortly is our new online request tool. And we've already determined, we already knew this, but it was confirmed when we utilized, this tool for pothole repairs. And, we had 50 requests that were submitted through this online form, and we had over 400 potholes repaired. So now what we're going to do is roll out a system that will allow us not just to respond to potholes, but to all types of issues. So the name of the system is Zendesk. And what will happen here is residents will be able to submit a ticket online. The tickets will be able to be pulled off social media, and you will get a tracking number. And then when the issue is resolved, hopefully it's resolved, you'll get notification that the ticket's been closed out. And I think we're going to start first with the Department of Public Works, because they have so much interaction with the residents. So again, this is Ron Cochran working with, where's Paul Hammersley? Paul, I just want to acknowledge your strong efforts off to my right. They're working together to, debut this tool very shortly. Before I forget,
Now let me say, much has been said about my use of task forces so far. So I'm here to announce the formation of a new task force. There will be a task force to examine all future task forces. And of course, my good friend Greg Lucy will chair.
I just wanted to say, I know much has been said about the task force, but I treat them very seriously because they are a task force that consists of, residents and businesses who have, I think, the best view of what's going on around Malden. So, that teen task force has been, if you look at the composition of the group, I mean, it's, Kathy McMullen, it's counselors, it's school committee, it's nonprofit organizations, it's students themselves. It's also, where is Karen Hayes? Karen Hayes is here. She's doing all of our community outreach. So I think they're important. It's something that we're going to continue to utilize. So my final, announcement here today, and this really pertains to the business community, is to let you know that we are now going to have someone take a close look at licensing and permitting. And so I've asked Craig Spataforo, who has a lot of expertise in the field of finance, to start looking at other cities and towns to figure out how we can have a leg up on them when it comes to businesses coming into Malden or those that want to expand here in the city. So we're looking forward again to his report and recommendations, and anybody that wants to join this group, I'm sure the council will be around after to take names. So with that being said, I will want to thank you for your indulgence, and consider yourself lucky. I could go on another couple hours. So, but for now, I just want to see if you had any questions or anything I could answer. Again, I want to thank always, while you're coming up with all your questions, Malden Access Television. They are a true partner. Thinking about if we relocate City Hall, we might take MATV with us. So they really are always answering the bell. So I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have about the state of our city. Going once, so we must be doing a bang-up job, I guess. All right, well, with that being said, thank you very much.